Welcome in, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. Today is our first and only mock draft for 2018. First and only. So this is it. We got our consensus, and this is going to be it. Mock Draft Monday. We're ready to go, ready to talk all things NFL Draft. I'm your host, Brandon Bouchard, joined here, as always, with Brett Hamilton.
Hello!
Okay, so obviously, majority of this show is going to be about the draft. And we'll get into that here in a second. We'll do everything you could ever think of when it comes to the NFL draft. But first, we got a few noteworthy things to talk about. Dez Bryant, and honestly, these kind of affect the draft in some form or fashion. But first thing, we got Dez Bryant being released by the Cowboys. We kind of expected this to happen. I didn't think it was going to be before the draft. It was kind of rumored that it was going to be after the draft. But he is no longer on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, a few teams that have been, I guess, possible suitors, I've heard probably
everyone.
I've heard pretty much everyone as well. But Cardinals, Ravens, Bills, and Packers have been big names. Patriots and Redskins have been names that have been thrown out. Texans have been interesting because apparently Dez Bryant went on Instagram and Twitter and followed Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, followed J.J. Watt, followed Will Fuller, all those guys. So maybe there's something there. I'm sure there's a ton of teams recruiting him at this point, but it's just where he ends up. And I really don't think I don't think he's going to get that much money in any deal.
I don't think so. I mean, what does he have to bargain with?
Not not really much.
Not production.
Panthers, or that's another one I forgot to mention. But what do you make of the whole Dez Bryant situation at the moment?
It's not surprising. You know, like we said, I did think that it was going to be more around the draft, like maybe on draft day or the day after the draft before it actually happened. But now he's out of there. I actually really my number one team would be the Panthers that I could see him going to realistically. The Texans things, I saw that online. I don't see where he would really fit in with the Texans. I understand DeAndre Hopkins is the clear number one, and they don't have a lot of depth behind him. And Will Fuller did a great job with Deshaun Watson as well. But I like the Panthers. They're really needy at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Kerwin Williams signs with the Chiefs. Not the biggest news, but it just kind of
makes people like Brandon nervous.
I fully expect Kareem Hunt to be their guy, but they have signed a ton of running backs. I mean, they still have Spencer Ware. They have Damian Williams now. They have Kerwin Williams now.
Yeah. Which Damian Williams, he's a good running back.
He is, and it's bizarre.
Kerwin's not bad. I mean, he just hasn't really had a whole lot of opportunity. Obviously, he got a lot of playing time this past year, but it's just...
I don't know if it's just more depth.
There's going to be too many cooks in the kitchen.
Someone's going to get elbowed in the face. But I don't know. We'll try to talk more about that as the offseason progresses.
Yep.
But Kareem Hunt, as of right now, still the guy.
One.
Now, if you were, for some reason, I don't know why, but if you were drafting right now, would you be worried taking Kareem Hunt?
I'd be worried about
would he drop at all?
Why I was drafting right now.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
no, I don't think so. I still have full confidence that they're going to do the right thing and give the ball to the most talented running back. I mean, they might try to do some fancy moves back there, but I think most of it's just been for depth. But Kareem Hunt's still going to be the guy getting the touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah, and usually Andy Reid likes his one running back, his bell cow running back, so that's another sign that it should be okay for Kareem Hunt.
Yep, I think we're all right.
Last thing to mention, not really fantasy related, but Darryl Worley recently got traded to the Eagles from the Panthers, but the Eagles have just released him after he got arrested last night, and good Lord, I think there is a tornado outside.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's really pouring.
I was like, yeah, there's a tornado outside, and Brett's just like, yeah, there is. Who would have spot.
Yeah, right there in the parking lot.
Who cares? The show must go on. If we're gonna die, it better be doing our podcast for you.
Unless the power goes out, then we'll have an issue.
We do it for the fans. We don't care what happens. Yeah. Oh god, if the power goes out, that's not gonna be fun. No. So if you hear a gap in this show at all, you know why. But anyway, Daryl Worley released by the Eagles. It definitely leaves somewhat of a hole for the Eagles because obviously this is a new shiny piece in their secondary that is just up and gone now because of an arrest. And I don't really know what's going to happen with Worley. He's 23 years old. He's probably going to get some form of a suspension from the league. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens there. But as of right now, Worley's a free agent and looking for a new team, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all the news. It's time for the mock draft, baby.
Woo!
It is time. So, before we obviously rattle off all of our picks, because once we get into the mock draft, we're just going to go back and forth, giving you the picks, and then we'll talk about it all in general at the very end. But if you want a more in-depth analysis of our offensive skill position players, just go back and listen to our previous 4 shows where we rank the top 10 at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So if you want a more in-depth analysis and summary of those players, then you can go and obviously listen there. Because when we do this mock draft, we're just going to go kind of quick. Because if we knew if we try to stop and do every pick and talk about them like we do normally, then it'd just last forever. So anyway. Here we go. Number 1, off the board, Cleveland Browns with the number 1 selection. They are going to take Sam Darnold, quarterback from USC. They obviously are looking at a quarterback regardless here. We had a few different options between maybe Allen or Rosen, but I think Darnold is probably the best fit here, and that's the guy they're eyeing. They obviously signed Tyrod Taylor, but I doubt that he sees much playing time if Sam Darnold is a selection here, which we think he will be. And just another caveat, if these aren't the picks that we think they should take necessarily. These are the picks that we think they will take. So correct. That being said, second pick, go ahead.
Coming in at number 2, the New York Giants select running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State. This was a contested pick. I think that they very easily could take a quarterback at this spot and bring him in and train underneath Eli Manning. We all saw the drama from Eli Manning last year and that whole situation of taking him out, whatever. But Saquon Barkley, he's the number 1 running back in this draft, very, very easily. So I can definitely see him going at number 2 to the Giants.
All right, number 3, we have the New York Jets, who traded up to get this number 3 spot. They are going to take Baker Mayfield. Actually, going to surprise a few people. Not the pick I would make by any means, but I think Baker Mayfield is probably some team likes him a lot, and they're going to have to take him with a higher pick. And I think the Jets are that team. So Baker Mayfield goes to the Jets at number 3.
And coming in at number 4, the Browns again. But this time they are going to the defensive side with Bradley Chubb from NC State. Obviously, the Browns had the number 1 pick overall. We had them selecting Sam Darnold. So with Saquon Barkley off the board, we think that they're going to go to the defensive side of the ball and get what we believe is the most talented defensive end in this draft.
All right, number 5. We have our first trade, ladies and gentlemen. Originally, the Broncos pick, but the Bills are going to trade up with the Broncos. Obviously, Broncos are going to slide into the 12 slot where the Bills were, and obviously, Bills are going to give them a few extra picks. But Bills, right here at number 5, are going to take Josh Allen, quarterback from Wyoming. I think there's going to be a lot more quarterbacks in this top 10 than people are expecting. I know arguably 3 or 4 are definitely going, and I think there's going to be close to 5 in the top 10. But Bills, obviously, they went and signed A.J. McCarron. I think he's, unfortunately, probably just going to be a backup for his time, or his entire NFL career. So Josh Allen is going to come in and really, he's going to be that big, prototypical quarterback that the Bills have been coveting for a while.
And at number 6, our second trade of the draft, the Cardinals. The Cards. Yeah, you should just know it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals trade up with the Colts. So the Colts go back to number 15, and the Cardinals select yet another QB, Josh Rosen. So that is 4 quarterbacks off the board in the top 6. Obviously, the Cardinals, they did a lot of QB work in this offseason already with bringing in Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon, old giraffe neck. I think that it makes sense for them to trade up to get a younger quarterback and train underneath Sam Bradford because, Sam Bradford will inevitably get hurt. Unfortunately, that's just what he does. And I think that would give you a really good opportunity. They've got a lot of solid pieces around him for a young quarterback to come in and have success in their first year.
All right, number 7, we got the Buccaneers. They definitely need help on the defensive side of the ball, and they get it here, taking Minkah Fitzpatrick, defensive back from Alabama. He can play all over the field, cornerback, safety, nickel, even some linebacker if you need him to. So Buccaneers had a very, very bad defensive showing last year, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is definitely going to improve that situation.
Yeah, I definitely like that. So coming in at number 8, the Chicago Bears. They've done a lot of off-season signing and committing to Mitchell Trubisky and all of that. But they are going to protect Mitchell Trubisky with a guard, Quentin Nelson. There's a lot of ways the Bears could go in this draft, but I think that it makes sense for them to protect the pieces that they've gotten. They've got a lot of wide receivers during this offseason. So I feel like they're going to take one of the most talented offensive linemen in this draft at number 8.
Number 9, 49ers. San Francisco 49ers go defensively, and they take Derwin James, safety from FSU. They've started getting the offensive weapons needed together over the past couple years with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch building that team up. So now they're going to really work on the defensive side of the ball. Derwin James, excellent safety, kind of Minkah Fitzpatrick, just light, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 10, the Raiders. John Gruden is going to bring in defensive back Denzel Ward from Ohio State. He might be the Derek Brooks for the next Derek Brooks for John Gruden and his new team. The Raiders, they've also made a lot of offensive trades this offseason, and one of the positions they still really lack is at the linebacker, inside and out. And I think that
cornerback, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. They do need some serious help at the cornerback position. They can't cover some of these elite wide receivers, so I think it makes perfect sense for them to take Denzel Ward at number 10 overall.
All right, number 11, Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill has not been the most reliable guy over the past couple years, and obviously he's coming off an ACL injury.
That's news to me.
Yeah, so surprise of the draft maybe, Lamar Jackson going 11th to the Dolphins. He completely takes over that job from Ryan Tannehill within 3 weeks, and I think Lamar Jackson, perfect place for him to be in Miami.
That's a bold pick. I like it. Coming in at number 12, the Broncos. They had that trade with the Bills, and they traded out of the number 5 spot. They're going to take cornerback Josh Jackson. They've shipped out Aqib Talib. They've shipped out a lot of defensive pieces, so they think that they are going to focus on the cornerback position in the first round. And Josh Jackson, I love what I see from him. And I think that's a great fit for the Broncos.
At number 13, Redskins. Redskins need help in a lot of areas, but for the time being, they are going to take Roquan Smith, inside linebacker from Georgia, easily the best inside linebacker in this draft. They need help in a lot of areas, but linebacker is definitely probably one of the bigger issues. They need a guy who can control the entire defensive side of the field. So, Roquan Smith to the Redskins.
And a number 14 pick from the Green Bay Packers, linebacker Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. I think me and Brandon both agree that this is if it falls this way, it would be a fantastic pick for the Packers, who need some help at the linebacker position. And Tremaine Edmonds is a fantastic talent, and I think he'd be a great asset to the Packers backfield or defensive side.
All right, number 15, Colts selecting here after the trade with the Cardinals. So Colts have a ton of holes. That's why they're trading back. They need more picks than they need quality picks. But taking a quality player here in Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame, offensive tackle. They got to protect Andrew Luck. That's been a problem for a while, and Andrew Luck has definitely not been healthy the past couple years. So this fixes a big hole on that offensive line.
And number 16, the Baltimore Ravens select wide receiver from Alabama, Calvin Ridley. In my opinion, the most talented wide receiver in this draft class. The Ravens have a definite need for the wide receiver position. They went out and got Crabtree, and that filled a big hole that they needed. But they need to bring in some younger guys to develop. And Calvin Ridley is, I think, already NFL ready.
All right, number 17, Los Angeles Chargers. Almost said San Diego, but Los Angeles Chargers. They got Joe Barksdale on one side of the ball, or one side of the offensive line. They snag another offensive tackle here, Connor Williams from Texas. The Chargers have really kind of struggled to keep linemen healthy. Hopefully, this changes things with Connor Williams solidifying the other side of the offensive line.
Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to try to protect. The quarterback,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Yeah, my mind just went completely blank. And they're going to pick the offensive guard Will Hernandez. I think that would be a really good piece to add to that offense. Like, the Seahawks need a lot of things, and it wouldn't surprise me if they went in any other direction. But I think most likely that they really need to beef that line.
All right, number 19, Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they have a big hole in their wide receiver core with Des Bryant gone now. And with wide receiver being a big need, I still don't think they're going to select a wide receiver just because the value isn't there. So instead, they're going to go on the defensive side of the ball and take defensive tackle Vita Vea from Washington. Just a big physical presence in the middle of the field.
And at number 20, the Lions select defensive lineman Marcus Davenport from the University of Texas, San Antonio. The Lions, they traded for LeGarrette Blount, so we don't think that before the LeGarrette Blount trade, I thought they were going to go running back. We talked about that a little bit. But now that they've secured, at least for this year, their running back position, I think they're going to look to the defensive line to kind of improve and hopefully be more competitive in that conference.
All right, number 21, Cincinnati Bengals. They have, again, a lot of holes on their team, but I think cornerback is where they're going to go here. They're going to take Mike Hughes from UCF, a very good cover corner, one-on-one. He can play nickel. He can play outside. He can do pretty much everything a corner is required to do, kind of like a Casey Hayward type player. But now Bengals are definitely going to improve that secondary with Mike Hughes.
And at number 22, the Buffalo Bills select a replacement for their recently retired center. And they're going to choose center Billy Price from Ohio State. He's had a lot of accolades from his college days. He set the record for most consecutive starts in the program history, so he's reliable. The Bills, we had them trading up for number 5 to pick Josh Allen, so now they're going to get a piece of that offensive line to protect their newly acquired investment.
All right, number 23, New England Patriots. Patriots could very well trade the selection, but for the time being, we have them sticking with the slot and taking linebacker Harold Landry from Boston College. Boston kid going to a Boston team. So, yeah, definitely the Patriots have quite a few holes at the moment, surprisingly, but starting it off, filling the linebacker void with Harold Landry.
Number 24, the Carolina Panthers, after getting rid of Kelvin Benjamin last year, they're left with a gaping hole in their depth chart at wide receiver. So they're going to choose SMU wide receiver Cortland Sutton, 24 overall. Really the biggest need, I mean, I'd be very surprised if they went any other position other than wide receiver in the first round.
All right, number 25, the Titans, going with Malik Jefferson. Avery Williamson is gone. He has left the team, so they have a big hole at the linebacker position. There are quite a few linebackers that have already been taken or that we selected to already go in this draft, but Malik Jefferson, linebacker from Texas, I think that would be a great fit for the Tennessee Titans.
At number 26, the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to focus on the defensive line and draft Maurice Hurst from Michigan. He had a great college career, and I feel like that the Falcons are really going to focus on the defensive side of the ball and help kind of build those pieces up to control games more, and I think Maurice Hurst makes perfect sense for them at 26.
All right, number 27. Originally, we had the Saints picking here, but we have the Saints trading out of the first round, Chiefs trading into the first round. Chiefs definitely have a lot of holes, especially in the secondary after Marcus Peters went to the Rams. So the Chiefs are going to trade up and select Jari Alexander from Louisville. Obviously, he's going to have to step up in a big way, kind of like Marcus Peters did early on in his career, to fill that void in the Chiefs secondary.
Yep, and number 28, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting linebacker Rashaan Evans. They've got a lot of pieces on both sides of the ball that work really well. I mean, they had a great season last year. Nothing huge on offense has changed since the last season, but we think that there's some real depth issues at the linebacker position with Ryan Hazier not being able to play this next year. So I think that Rashaan Evans, great college linebacker, is going to make perfect sense for them.
All right, number 29, Jacksonville Jaguars. They're pretty solid all around, but they are probably going to go linebacker here after Paul Posluszny has officially announced his retirement. We think they're going to take Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State, definitely going to slide into that role and fill that void quite nicely.
Yep. And like the Jaguars, the Vikings, they're pretty solid all around. I mean, there's not a whole lot of weak spots on that team, but we think that most likely what they lack depth at most is cornerback, and we're going to send Isaiah Oliver to them. They've got a fantastic defense. They were one of the most productive defenses last year, but cornerback position, besides Xavier Rhodes, they don't have a lot of other pieces to plug in there, and I think that Isaiah Oliver could make a huge impact on that defense.
All right, number 31, Patriots selecting again. This time they're going offensive tackle from UCLA, Colton Miller. Obviously, Nate Soldier is on the Giants now, so that's another big hole. Got to protect Tom Brady. It's all about protecting Brady in New England at the moment. Until he retires, it's all about Brady. So Colton Miller is going to be the new left tackle for the New England Patriots.
I like it. Number 32, rounding out the first round, is the Philadelphia Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champs, selecting cornerback Carlton Davis. Again, just like the last four picks, we're talking about really developed teams, really deep in the depth chart, but a lot of teams are always looking for those huge playmakers from the cornerback position, and that's something that I think the Eagles are definitely going to look at in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that's our entire first round mock draft for 2018. We will post the entire thing on Twitter and Facebook at some point, so you can just see it firsthand. But if you want to hear it back again, just rewind the tape, and you can hear it just fine. We obviously that didn't take up much of our time, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the entire mock draft in general. And I do want to say this is our consensus mock draft. So, so obviously we had our separate mock drafts, and then we compile them into this one, and we had some disagreements here and there, but all around, I think we created a pretty solid mock draft. I don't have many discrepancies.
No, I think it looks pretty good.
Thing. Yeah, but if you had to change one thing that we agreed on, I know we agreed on it, but if you could change one thing or one set of things that cause certain things to happen, what would that be?
Oh, at number 2, the Giants selecting Saquon Barkley. In my mock draft, I had them taking a quarterback number 2 overall. Definitely, I don't hate that pick because Saquon Barkley is, a beast, and he's going to make a huge impact on whatever team he goes to. A lot of people are talking about the Giants are in this win now mindset, and that totally goes in line with that. But I feel like the Giants, they don't expect to have the number 2 pick in the future. This is kind of an outlier year. They had a really, really tough year. And there's a lot of great quarterbacks in this class that could turn out to be future franchise QBs. And I feel like that they're going to invest in one of those top QBs to develop underneath Eli Manning for X number of years he has left. So I actually had Josh Allen going to the Giants and Saquon Barkley going at number 4 to the Browns along with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I can definitely see the Giants. I know we've heard a ton of stories of, hey, they're going to pass on a quarterback. If it's not Sam Darnold, they're going to go somewhere else. They're definitely not taking Barkley, things like that. I think it's just a giant smokescreen. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen. I do think if they truly are in win now mode, then they're taking Barkley.
Yeah, if that's true, then they have to.
But it's just whether it's just the team, the GM, in their mind, they have to make a decision. Do they want to win now and possibly get to the NFC Championship, possibly a Super Bowl within the next 2 to 3 years when Eli has a little bit left in the tank? Or do they want to solidify the future by taking a guy like Josh Rosen or Josh Allen or maybe even Darnold if he falls there? But that was my thinking when putting Barkley at number 2 to the Giants. Was they're probably going to do the win now thing. I think they still like Eli Manning. If they don't trade Odell Beckham, which that's bizarre in itself. If they do that and they still take Barkley, then all is lost in New York. I wouldn't know where to go there. The only thing there's not much I would change about this draft. I know we had a few bold predictions, which that's fine. We kind of obviously taking Lamar Jackson.
That was pretty bold.
Yeah, 11th to the Dolphins. That's kind of surprising, but Tannehill still being there. But anyway, if I had to change one or a few things, I think I just don't see the Patriots sitting there with 2 first-round picks and not doing something with them.
I understand that.
Whether it be
because they did trade for these picks.
Yeah,
and it's very unlike them to do that.
And they gave up Brandon Cooks for them for those picks. Yeah. So I think they'll probably trade up at some point. Maybe they trade up and snag one of these quarterbacks if another team doesn't already. It's just they're going to have to trade up in a big way because you're going to have a quarterback gone with the Browns. You might have one gone with the Giants. Definitely going to have one gone with the Jets. Bills are probably going to take one, and Cardinals and Dolphins are in the market for one as well. So
I'd say that. The trade would have to come from the Bills at number 5, or maybe even or number 6 with the Colts. I could see him trading with the Colts.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. Maybe even the Giants if the Giants truly don't want a quarterback at that slot. So true. I don't know. I do think. I don't know. The wide receivers are hard to gauge in this draft for me. Yeah. And honestly, it might end up where wide receivers, there might only be one going in the first round at all. Maybe and Calvin Ridley, he could fall outside the top 20 outside the top 20. Cortland Sutton going to the Panthers. I mean, it sounds right. It looks right. But I just don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on a wide receiver
that early.
Yeah, that early. Especially the talent really isn't there.
I would just be so surprised if the Ravens didn't pick a wide receiver.
Yeah, they always seem to do that, but it never works. So maybe they're going to stray away from that this time.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. What do you think is the biggest surprise from our mock draft?
There's a couple of surprises. I think Miami choosing Lamar Jackson, but I say surprise. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I think it's earlier than what most people think Lamar Jackson will go. But this is a quarterback-heavy draft class, and if it truly is the top 4 QBs in the top 6, people might scramble to get a guy like Lamar Jackson because after him, there's a huge drop-off.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas any other draft, he might fall to 19, 20, 22 pick, based on all the quarterbacks that could potentially come off the board. People might scramble to get him a little bit early, and I think it makes sense for the Dolphins. I don't think he's not their quarterback of the future. There's no way.
No.
And they need some stability at that position. A lot of people talk about Lamar Jackson and say, "Oh, he's a wide receiver." He's made it super clear that he's a pure quarterback. He's not going to play any other position. He doesn't want to play any other position. And I think he has a skill set. He may have to beef up a little bit, but that was a surprise. But I actually agree with it, and I think that if it pans out that way, it would be just fine.
Yeah, it's not like any of our picks make no sense at all.
No, I wasn't floored by any of this.
No. That's just probably one of our bolder selections, the fact that happened. But honestly, like you said, this draft is entirely played by quarterbacks. Like, whatever happens in the first 10 picks with the quarterbacks really determines the entirety of this draft, which is kind of my biggest surprise, of how everything played out with our draft, is we had so many quarterbacks going in the top 11. We had 5 in the top 11, so that's nearly half. It really made all these top-tier linebackers fall in our selections. Roquan Smith going 13, Tremaine Edmonds, who a lot of people have in their top 10, dropping to 14 with the Packers, Harold Landry, Marcus Davenport. Those big-time linebackers and pass rushers that people are going to be targeting, they're going to fall if all these quarterbacks go in the top 10. Give me your top 5 picks, and I guess we can go back and forth with this, but top 5 picks that you're most confident in, that you think these are probably going to happen with this team, where they're selected, everything.
All right, I'll lead it off. Let's go back and forth. That'll be a little bit easier. I think that the Browns are going to take Sam Darnold.
I agree.
Definitely going to take quarterback at number 1. They have to at this point.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Sam Darnold's one of the. I like Sam Darnold the best out of this draft class. I don't know exactly what the GMs are talking about. There's a lot of rumors about the Browns liking Sam Darnold. Lots of rumors about the Giants liking Sam Darnold as well. But I think that it's pretty locked and loaded that he's going to go to the Browns at the first pick.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the pick for just.
Yeah, this is about what you think's gonna happen, not what you like.
I think it'll happen. I do not like it, but Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Number 3 to the Jets. I think the Jets have, for whatever reason, they like him a lot. I know there's been talks about them taking possibly Allen or Rosen or someone like that, but I for some reason, I think they have their eyes set on Baker Mayfield, and he's going to surprisingly be the second quarterback off the board.
Yeah, that would be surprising, but I like that as well. Another pick that I'm pretty confident about is the Buccaneers at number 7, taking Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Buccaneers, their defense was atrocious last year. Safety play was awful. Cornerback play was mediocre. Linebacker play was fairly good. But Minkah Fitzpatrick is such a Swiss Army knife when he plays on defense. You can plug him into anything, he can succeed. He can get in the backfield. He's fast, and that was one of the biggest things is about the Buccaneers defense that lacked last year is they had no pass rush at all. I mean, quarterbacks, you could drop back for 7 seconds on average and be fine, and not even look at a defensive lineman. So I feel like that they're going to take the top defensive player off the board, and I think that Minkah Fitzpatrick is still going to be there, and in my opinion, he's the best one after Bradley Chubb.
Yeah. Not so much the player specifically, because I think there could be a situation where a few corners could be here at this pick, but the Broncos, if they do trade down at the 12 slot like we have them taking Josh Jackson, but I'm pretty positive they're going to go with a cornerback. It might be Denzel Ward if he falls there. Josh Jackson, I think, is the next guy up. So I'm pretty confident in that one.
Yep. Another one that I'm confident about is the 49ers at number 9 picking defensive back Derwin James. If Minkah Fitzpatrick fell to the 49ers, then I think that they would pick him. But because I'm very confident that the Buccaneers will take Fitzpatrick, the 49ers will take Derwin James. And it just makes sense for them. Their defense, they really got to make some moves on defense to be competitive. They've done a lot on offense, and I can't think. There's no prominent defensive back on that team.
No, not really.
And they're going to have someone.
They need a leader. They really need a leader on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and Derwin James, he's obviously the Seminoles weren't. They didn't have a fantastic year this past year. A lot of that stemmed from the offense, so he may not have been able to shine as much as he should have, but he did fantastic, and he's a great player. And I think that the 49ers are really going to focus on the top defensive back at that number 9 spot.
Yeah. Just a few takeaways from this draft. I mean, we can keep talking as long as we want. This has been one of our shorter episodes, but just in my opinion, I think because obviously we have this mock draft, and if we get 5 of these picks correct, I will be ecstatic. A lot of analysts don't get these picks all the time because there's just there's so much talk with different reporters, different teams,
and then
rumors.
One trade that happens early on can throw off the entire first round.
Well, I mean, just think about last year. Mitch Trubisky, the Bears trading up for Mitch Trubisky. No one saw that coming.
No one.
Christian McCaffrey going to the Panthers that early. No one saw that coming. It's bizarre. I mean, you go a few years back, and every draft is kind of like that. But this draft, I have a feeling either Saquon Barkley, who is our number 1 running back by a mile, we don't even have another running back going in the first round. Either Saquon Barkley or Josh Rosen, who's my number 1. That's my number 1 quarterback in this draft. Again, he doesn't fit with the Browns, so that's why I don't have him going there. But I think Barkley or Rosen, one of those guys, maybe both, are really, really going to fall in this draft. I think they could possibly get outside the top 10, even Barkley.
I just don't agree with that.
I think a lot of, again,
if Barkley is there at number 7, the Buccaneers will take him.
Maybe.
Who do they have?
They could. Maybe they feel like the defensive side of the ball is more of a priority. It's all about priorities and fits. And
Saquon fits with the Buccaneers offense.
Well, he fits with any offense.
Well, obviously.
But teams might say, hey, or Buccaneers could be like, okay, we have Minkah Fitzpatrick sitting here. We have Saquon Barkley sitting here. We can take Minkah, and then we can wait, and then we could take a guy in the second round like Nick Chubb or Darius Geis, a guy who's maybe not as good as Saquon Barkley, but he's, 75% of what Barkley can be. So you're getting a cornerback and then a running back who's pretty darn good in his own right. That's why I have a feeling one of the either Barkley's going to fall because all these quarterbacks are going to be taken high, or Rosen's going to fall, kind of like Aaron Rodgers did back in 2008. It's just for some reason teams are going to say, hey, Rosen, he kind of rubs you the wrong way, and then maybe some of these teams don't even really jump at quarterbacks all of a sudden. So if we say the Browns take Darnold, Giants skip on a quarterback and take Barkley. Jets, I'm pretty sure they're going to take Mayfield if he's there, maybe Allen. Bills, probably going to take Allen. I don't see Rosen going to any of them. Cardinals make sense if he does. If they don't trade up, if Rosen falls, I think he could go to the Cardinals. Dolphins might be okay with Rosen. The one thing I'm thinking is Rosen might fall all the way to the Patriots, even without them trading up, and. Wow. He could. It's Aaron Rodgers all over again. Just like there were talks about Rosen going number 1 for a while, and that's what we saw with Aaron Rodgers back in the day. And then Alex Smith went. Now that's not to say Sam Darnold's Alex Smith. I think Sam Darnold's a lot better than Alex Smith. Just football IQ and everything. But if Josh Rosen does fall, fall into 23. Aaron Rodgers fell to 24. Yeah. So. If that could happen, and the Patriots get Josh Rosen, who I think is the best quarterback in this draft, to be the successor to Tom Brady, that would be absolutely incredible for that team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't think that they're going to fall. But that's just me.
I don't think so either. But I could see it. I wouldn't honestly. I would not be shocked if either of them took a tumble into the later picks of this round.
Yeah,
but. You're saying like even if they do like if Barkley falls past 5 or 6, or if Rosen falls past like 5 or 6 or out of the top 10, I have a feeling a lot of teams are going to be trading up to try to snag one of these guys.
Yeah,
even teams you might not even expect. Seahawks might trade up, and they don't even have picks really to give. But if they see that, they could trade up and get Barkley or a team like that or. I don't know. It's just something's going to happen where one of these guys I feel like is going to fall in a weird way. I don't know why. Any other takeaways from this mock draft?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting just in general. And we talked about it a little bit before we did the mock draft, but only one running back going in the first round. And I agree with that. I think that's going to be the case, which is interesting because there's a lot of running backs I like in this draft class.
Oh, this is one of the best running back classes in a long time.
I know, and no one's really talking about that because the focus is on the QBs. And even with that all being said, the reason we don't have a running back going after Saquon Barkley is because there are so many. And I don't think that teams are going to be willing to bet on the number 2 or number 3 draft running back when they're saying, okay, in round 2, I'll be able to snag a guy like Chubb or
Darius Geis,
Darius Geis,
Rashad Penny, or
Rashad
Ronald Jones or Sonny Michel.
Yeah,
on and
on. They're all could pan out to be great NFL running backs. But just the fact that there's so many of them, it kind of hurts all of their draft stock, and the fact that everyone's focused on QBs. So why take a risk at number 8 and get the number 2 running back when you can, spend your draft stock on a top tier defensive back, and then in the second round get the number 3 or number 4 running back and be perfectly fine, maybe even better.
Yeah, I feel like this draft might play out kind of like a fantasy football draft in the fact that it's just going to be just like the straw that broke the camel's back. Just like a quarterback goes, and there's going to be a ton of quarterbacks go. We had a few when we had our cornerbacks go, we had 3 cornerbacks after that. I think in the second round, once there's going to be some point in the second round where one running back is going to go, and you're going to see about 6, 7, 8 running backs go in the second round, just because people are going to see that and panic and be like, "Oh, we got to get one of these guys now." And that might be the case, but again, there's still a lot of running backs that people could wait on. And
that's true. I think it's more likely to happen with QBs than running backs this time around, but I can see that.
Yeah, happening. Especially in the early rounds. But, or early round, I should say. But obviously, this is just our first round mock draft. We're not going to get into second and third rounds quite like this. But are there any later guys that you think could pop up in the first round that we didn't list? Any guys you like in particular?
Yeah, did we did have Cortland Sutton going somewhere, right?
Yeah, we had him on the Panthers.
Yeah, we had him on the Panthers. I still like Darius Geis. I think that I just talked about how teams may be more inclined to wait for running backs, but Darius Geis. I mean, if Saquon Barkley wasn't in this draft class, he would be by far the number 2 running back, and one team, maybe even the Broncos. They have no idea what they're doing at running back position. Maybe
true.
Maybe they take a chance on the clear number 2 running back. It wouldn't surprise me if he slipped into the first round ahead of one of these other defensive players or offensive linemen or something like that.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, we are a fantasy football show, and obviously we're going to be talking about offensive players. We like those guys. We're going to talk like Darius Geis slipping into the round, but talking just defensively for a little bit, if this is the only show we ever talk about defense, then
which it very well could be.
It could be. But just a few guys like Ronnie Harrison. I know we were going back and forth between putting him in the first round. Safety from Alabama. He could get up there. A few defensive tackles and offensive linemen. We have Daron Payne, again, Alabama defensive tackle. He could slide up in there if people are scared of Maurice Hurst and his heart condition. I don't think it's that big.
Gosh.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Brandon hates his heart.
I don't hate his heart. And then a ton of offensive linemen because people are always looking for offensive linemen. Isaiah Wynn could sneak up in there. Orlando Brown
had an
awful.
You don't like him.
I don't. Just the effort. Just something about him just doesn't. His measurables, like just his size and everything, incredible. Just prototypical lineman, but just doesn't seem like he cares that much or puts much effort into it. Just kind of like a lazy mentality. I'm not gonna just commend him to that already, but I think that might be a sign of things to come. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else about this first round?
Oh,
we're still trying to figure out what.
Yeah, the trades. The trades is what's going to get me.
Yeah, trades are they're just fun to put in there sometimes because the odds of you getting all those right. We had 3 trades in this.
Yeah, and I think you did mention it. I very easily could see the Patriots trading up one of those 2 spots, 2 picks that they traded Brandon Cooks for, and getting one of these top tier. If they may not think that Josh Rosen is going to fall, they may want to lock him in early and trade up to one of the top 10 picks, maybe number 11 or 12. No, maybe 12. I could see that one happening, but. Yeah, it's hard to predict trades. But,
it's hard to predict the draft in general.
Yeah, but when you throw in trading, that variable is just it makes it tough.
Definitely.
But I really like this mock draft.
No, yeah, especially
I wouldn't hate anything that happened here.
Yeah, especially it's not many.
Except for Calvin really going to the Ravens, I wouldn't like that.
Not many analysts can put together a consensus mock draft and agree on that much. No. But I think.
Most of the time, we agreed on the position, or at least a couple of positions that those teams were going for, and then it was just a matter of deciding between 1 or 2 players that we liked a little bit better, thought fit the team a little bit better. But for the most part, I thought it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, not bad at all. We're trying to decide what we're gonna do for next week's show. Obviously, that's the week before the draft or the Monday before the draft. So, it's either going to be something. It's going to be something draft related. I'll tell you that. We might do a bold prediction show or guys that are most likely to just blow up in fantasy again. Mm-hmm. If you want more detail about that, just go back and listen to our previous 4 shows where we break down quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. That's where you can get a lot of in-depth analysis at each position on the offensive side of the ball and the guys who are going to be fantasy relevant and even the late round guys, because we go through our top 10s there. And you can see how in depth it is, because literally we go through our top 10 running backs. We only had 1 running back in this first round. We go through top 10 wide receivers, only 2 receivers. We had 0 tight ends in this one. But anyway, so next week, probably going to do something draft related, whether it be bold predictions, something like that. We'll keep you posted. But anyway, just an update before we go on the giveaway. Giveaway is not complete yet. We're not going to give the Le'Veon Bell jersey away until after the NFL draft, the week after. So a lot of people have said, like, they go on Twitter and they see that we've reached 100 followers, 100 retweets, like that threshold, which that was just the threshold to say, hey, once we get here, we will give it away. Because if we only got to like 50 and 50 or something like that, we weren't going to give it away at all. So that was the threshold. So you still can enter the giveaway. So don't be worried that there's 100 people already in. You can still enter the giveaway. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter at the423football. Retweet the giveaway tweet, which is pinned at the top of our account. I know I've been giving updates on through a bunch of different tweets, but if you want to enter the giveaway, there's one specific tweet you have to retweet, and again, you have to follow us on Twitter at the423football.
I hope I win.
You cannot win. You've been banned from Twitter.
Yeah, but
I want it.
It's Le'Veon Bell.
Hey, we'll do plenty
It's a sweet jersey.
We'll do some more giveaways later down the road once we hit more thresholds in our followers and listeners.
I like it.
Yeah. So make sure you go and follow us at the 423football on Twitter. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and YouTube. Give us a like. Leave your comments and reviews. Thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.
Peace out.